Hello and welcome to the second part of the EvoChat building instructions video. Now, in the first part I already explained the tools that I use and why I have so much filament here. So I'm gonna jump straight into building this big boy, and make sure that everything is fine. I already done a dry fitting of most parts, so I know that this is gonna assemble well and do its job. But I'm gonna go through everything little by little. Now let's start with the easy parts. This is the sword that I designed. There is an alternative blade that is not as big. Depending on your printer size, you might want to consider, because this is about 20 centimeters long, so it just fits on the printer. And as you can see, there was a little bit of warping. It's supposed to be straight up, but I'm gonna sand this down and make sure that this big boy looking nice on every side. And then the handle is on a 5mm peg, so effectively you could do strange things with this, like having guns or other things, or just use the blade for something else. But in this case, we want to make sure that it fits through and that locks securely. If you want to glue it for any reason, it's up to you, but it should hold fairly well in any position. So that's the sword done. We can put it aside. The guns are also 5mm pegs. If you print them from the 3MF files, they will be facing down on one side. That is to allow this peg to be stronger. It just needs sand down a little bit. So for example, I could take my metal tool here and make sure that it's sanded down so that it's a round 5mm peg and not something misshapen. And that's it. One done, the other one. So it obviously is the part that faces the bed as it prints that will be, slightly deformed depending on your support settings. Mine's, allow a little bit of deformation, sadly. So I just want to make sure that that's nice and smooth, so that when it fits through the hands, it doesn't have any problems, or through the other peg holes. Now, where do we start from? In my opinion, you will want to start from the chest area, because there is some gluing in here that needs to be done before everything else. And then after the chest, you will want to start considering the hips. While this is drying, we can assemble the lower legs, because these are just filament and they are mushroom pegs, so it's easy to pop them on. And yeah, then the arms obviously can be prepared in this configuration before they get glued on. And the head will also be, easy to assemble before we put it through the chest, and we put this back panel to close it up. So without further ado, let me clear some space and focus on the chest part. So the chest main part will need some gluing, and we're gonna use this as a leverage to keep things in place as well. So I got my Gorilla gel. I'm gonna shake it so that if there is any separation between liquid and gel, it will actually be put together, and then we're gonna get started. So as I said, I already dry fitted everything, so I know everything should work, but nonetheless, you want to make sure that you have the right part for the right area. So the chest piece that goes here, you want the mushroom peg obviously to face outwards and up, and let's call it the steps here will start from top step towards the neck area, and we'll finish with the lower step towards the crotch area. As you can see, I haven't actually finished clearing up these pieces, so we're gonna do that when we need them. Probably that we just need to clear it out when I do the other bits. But bottom line is, we want to start gluing this part. So I'm gonna dry test it one more time, make sure that I have the right piece. This will go in front and glue and hold everything together that way. So again, you want to, I'll probably need to sand down something there before I glue it. And that one as well needs some work. So we're gonna test it outside the armature, but that's how it's gonna assemble. And then you want to make sure that it's in the right direction so that when you peg this through the mushroom peg, that it reaches that notch and locks it securely. So we got the right things in the right direction, and that's good. So let's put this front panel on the right hand side and this panel on the right hand side, so we know that that's that side, and the same for this. So we want to make sure that this fit nicely. That actually doesn't look right. This is the right piece. Okay, that's why they were not fitting. So you want to check there is a groove on this piece for the mushroom peg. It's also another indicator of which one is in the right side. So as you can see, these fit nicer now, but there's still some clearance issue that probably we can resolve somewhere, like this bit here. So I'm gonna take the flat file and I'm gonna just pass it through once to make sure that there is no, excess from the supports that are still attached to it, or the brims or anything like that. Once on the edges as well, just making sure they all is nice and smooth for when it transforms. And voila, same on the other side. We're gonna just pass it through a little bit like that until we can see that it's smooth and nothing pokes out. This is all pretty decent. And then on the outside, on these edges here that look rough from the brims, that one looks kind of bad. Don't need to snip it though. And then all good. So now when we test it again, it looks much better. Fits much better. It's gonna glue easier because we sand it down. It's also, seep through with the glue much better. So before I glue it, let's do the other side as well. A little bit of rough edge there and there. That will probably go away. This bit didn't print properly, but it's not gonna be a problem. It's gonna be hidden, nobody's gonna see it. So I'm not gonna reprint this piece, but yeah. Sometimes FDM printing can give you some surprises like this. And you just need to roll with it. Or if you want a perfect piece, then reprint it, The option is there. For me, I don't really care. I just care that everything works fine for you guys. And for the sake of this video, it's also nice to show that things are not always perfect, These mushroom pegs sometimes can also be a little bit deformed, so you might want to round it up a little bit, depending on how the piece is printed. And, you can test it through this part before you assemble. Make sure that it goes through all the way, and then you want to make sure that it goes all the way up into the corner, which is not doing at the moment for some reason. It was doing it before. What's in the way? Yeah, another good example. So I'm gonna take the trimmer this time, top speed, and there's some of this to smooth these bits out. It's gonna be hard to go all the way into it. You know, you might need a blade if there's anything really clogging it, but just a little bit of this should be enough to clear any blockages. So we're testing this, and now it goes through all the way, and it turns, and everything locks nicely when it transforms. So one is good, the other one we try the same, fits through. You can do a 360, you can fit it through, you can transform it. Can you transform it? Yes. And that is might need to clear out some stuff as well. Let's see. Just a little bit of TLC, like I said, can go a long way. And then make sure that this piece is also, you know, nice and round, rather than having some weird edges because of how the orientation of printing is. And let's try again. So this was easy peasy, it turns around, and now it goes through, and you know, it's still secure, but it transforms. So all is good. We saved the day. So back to assembly. We want to fit this through and face it up. Where is the other one? It's still here. Fit this through, face it up. Now, my suggestion is to fit this through already, so that you have support for when you push things to be glued through. And then we take this part and put some glue on the bottom here, on the side, and a little bit there, but be careful not to put too much of it, because otherwise it might go into parts that need to move. So there's nothing in the middle that prevents it to move. So yeah, you don't want to put it, in fact, you just want to put it here probably. That's the most secure area. So here and so here, just like that. And this is for, no, it's upside down. This is for the right hand side, for the left hand side, and you push it down against that tool, so you know everything squeezes nicely, and that's it. Second one the same. Just gonna put some glue just in the middle, just so things are gonna peg together and stay there. You don't want to put glue in the middle there where the chest pegs are, because otherwise, oh, put it the wrong way around. Otherwise it never transform, unless that's your goal. Then you never transform it, but I don't think so. So that's in place as well, using this tool again to make sure everything is nice and squeezed into, and the glue will do its job. So that's the hard part done. The next part, we will take this. So you can let it dry a little bit. I think it will be a safe option. So let's close this up so that it doesn't dry. And in the meanwhile, we can clear up the other bits that we didn't clear up. So let me see, there were some bits. This is clear, this is not. If you feel that it's moving too much, you can leave this tool through if you manage while you're moving it, but it might be hard to achieve. So what can we do? We can drill this hole through when it's sitting there. Still was a little bit of debris. There's a little bit of debris in there that I want to get rid of. Okay, now we can do this. Ooh, that's a stinker. So let's clear out this bit. Let me start. So if it takes too long to drill through, it might start heating up the plastic and deforming it. So you don't want to, you know, linger for too long. Like I did just now, it was starting to make it look wrong, in my opinion. So yeah, hand drill might be less dangerous from that point of view, but I have no patience. So electric drill it is. Oh, that bit looks like it might come out. Yeah. So let's make sure that it's all good. Here we go. So let's put that aside for a bit. Let's put the wheels on. So we got these wheels here. I need to clear a little bit. So we got some supports here that were left. 1, 2, 3. Now these wheels do clip on fairly securely normally, but if you feel that they keep falling and you don't care, then just glue them on and, you know, forget about it, kind of thing. But it's up to you how you feel about your print, about your make. So this just should pop on securely. One and 2, 3 and 4. Then the last few wheels we go on the helmet / truck cab. So as you can see, the glue is doing its job at holding it. I will still, you know, be careful about being too rough with it, because obviously the glue is still curing. Before we go on, let's do these small bits here while we don't have anything on the way. So this is the peg that goes on the lower chest, and that's all done. Let's do the neck one. So let's finish by hand so we don't risk ruining this bit. Especially these small parts have a tendency to warp under the heat of the electric one. So we got this all done, and we got the peg for the lower chest, done, we can clear out any excess plastic at this point. Make sure that it's gonna be nice and clean. If there any debris from drilling that came out, and get rid of it. And this part also need, let's see, maybe it doesn't need, actually, yeah, I just needed to have this bit pushed through with a little bit of force, but not much. So this peg hole is gonna go towards the feet, let's say, and you want to put this bit so that the round part is facing up, because it will need to transform. So we put this through, get some green filament. We got a lot of it because we got a lot of green parts. I'm expecting to use this for, and we need to line this so that, why is it not going through? Here we go. So that is the filament going through. Snip, snip. And then we do this on the chest part. We feed this through. And hopefully it will find the hole for this guy. Sometimes it's not as easy as you think, especially when things, yeah. So this time I'm gonna take the trimmer and make sure that this hole is as big as it's needed. So now test this part. We can test this as well, make sure that it goes through all the way. All is good. So now it should just work. Yay. Snip, snip on the filament, and we're done. So now we can take the shoulders, inner shoulders. I will peg it through so that it doesn't move around on you, which is good because it means it will work when your figure is standing and you are trying to pose it. And obviously we don't need this part yet, but this is the part that goes in for the arm attached to the chest. And there's the bit that goes and covers that. And you want to make sure that it sits flush. It doesn't look like it, so probably needs some adjustment on that side, and on this side looks much better, so it's probably just ready to be glued. So let's go and have a look why without being on the body. I have a feeling that there is something in there or something here that doesn't make it touch, because it, yeah. So what I would do is take this bit here, clean that up, make sure that it's nice and round, and then make sure that this is all clean around the peg as well, and level. And then for this part, instead, we can use this and go like this and flatten this bit out by carefully moving it along and creating a flat surface. And then finally, we want to make sure that this is also nice and round and that the bottom doesn't have any debris that is preventing it from going in. Again, depending on your settings for your printer, things might not be as, fitting. And as you can see, this is exactly the same part, just mirrored. And, one side is not as nice fitting as the other. So now that's better, at least. Feels that could be some improvement still, but, if you squeeze it, it goes in, so that will just help with better friction, in my opinion. So we can put this part back on, bang it in, take the front covers off. So now to glue these parts, we are gonna take these bits and we're gonna glue. So again, we avoid the bits that need to move and we glue everything else. So there is an L shape here for this part, and then maybe we go along the border like that for this part, so that even if it squeezes, either it comes out a little bit or it doesn't go on the mushroom peg. Squeeze it through a little bit so that if you have something like elastic bands or things like that to, make it tight without having to wait for it to go, then, might be a good idea at this point. Otherwise, as you can see now, it's holding it together. Second one the same. Dot bio glue there, bio glue along the edge here, not too much. And squeeze. Make sure it aligns correctly. Oh, see, it's trying not to stay together, but the glue will prevent that. And the bonus is that it will add friction to how to move this arm. As you can see, there is a little bit of glue that pokes out, but it's not too bad. And it's nice and aligned and everything is fitting together. Nothing is disassembling. Let's do this peg down here that we forgot about until now. I'm gonna put it through, filament through. As you can see, things should go through fairly easily. And then snip. Ooh, now attach the glue. That was my bad. My bad. And that's the chest done practically. We can deal with the head. So the eyes just fade through the head and they can be glued. I chopped off a little bit because it was easier to fit through the head. I don't really need such long, let's say, eyeball. We want to clear out that part first. And we might want to cross-check it after we put the eyes in anyway. But what I would do is put tiny dot of glue here. And then just pop it into the face. And that's it. So now check again that the eyes didn't block the hole. All good. So with the eyes glued on, we can fit this through the neck. Mine is a bit on the loose side. If you feel that it's too loose, then maybe add a little bit of nail polish already or something. But what you want to make sure is that it fits through all the way down to this part before you glue it. Mine is doing that without problem, so we can put some glue down here and at the back here, and then close it up so that that is all done. And to make sure that this is going to glue correctly, you can move that head at the back here and turn it a little bit so that it holds everything where it should be. But yeah, it's gonna be fine. So the chest is practically done. I'm gonna let it dry now for a bit before I record the next part so that everything is fine. And we're gonna look at the head, finishing the head. There's parts here that probably need glued actually, which we'll look at in a minute. And then we got the wheels, and then we're gonna start from the feet up. So we got to glue the main body together, and we reached the head part. So now that the glue has dried for a bit, everything is moving as it should, everything is pegging together. These wheels keep popping off, so I probably need to glue them actually instead of just pegging them in, which I will do in a second. And what we're gonna do next, we're gonna do the helmet, which also needs glued. So, and needs a bit of adjustments as well. So let's pop the glue open. So I'm gonna shake it again, make sure that it's nice and mixed. Pop the wheels off for a second. These ones are more secure on this side for some reason. And really, come on. Oh. Okay. So for gluing the wheels, I'm just gonna pop a dot on the back, and then I'm gonna push them in, and that's the end of it. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't really need a lot of glue for this to stick, so usually lasts for a while. But I've been doing a lot of chat projects, so I had to get a new one recently. So that's 2 wheels on. Then on this side, need to be a bit careful when you push it through that the glue doesn't stick to your fingers and then everything follows you. But that's it done. Let's peg it together. Nice and secure. Everything moves as it should. All good. So the first thing I'm gonna check is the hole through the head. I think we've done it earlier, so that's ready to get the helmet on. So I'm gonna put this on the side and focus on this. Now the horns are just gonna slide in and lock into place, hopefully. If not, you might need to sand them down a little bit, but yeah, they should just work. For the windows though, these are kind of tight in there. And the version of the helmet that I printed has very thin layer for the top of the roof, so it's kind of let's say there is not much space for sanding in that area, but I can do the bottom a little bit, and then I can sand down the actual red piece for the window so that it's gonna fit through better. Obviously you don't want to sand down pieces that are too visible sometimes. You want to, be careful. Otherwise, let's say it kind of looks battle damaged, but it's not necessarily the look that you're looking for. So I've done that. So let's check these windows out. They got a little bit of brim from when it was printing, then it's taken off a little bit. That might prevent these from going in the way they're intended. And voila, and then we're gonna give it a pass with the iron file. This one is pretty decent. So let's give it a go inside, just to make sure that it's good. And then the top and the bottom, give it a, it's catching on something. I saw once that there was somebody saying that you can do wet sanding to avoid leaving that whiteness to the PLA. I never tried it. It would be really interesting to know if anybody did wet sanding of the parts and what are the results. So let's see if this piece, so you can kind of tell which side it goes into because it's got a slight incline on one side, and that now fits in much better, and hopefully we can glue it so that it's gonna, not make it look as bad with the, let's call it the rooftop, being so thin. So I'm gonna put some glue on this side, the inside, and the bottom bit. So if you consider this an L shape, then I'm adding it on the front of the L, but not on the back of the L. I'm gonna hold it with this because it's not gonna be easy to avoid touching the glue otherwise. And then I'm gonna squeeze it in nice and secure, and that's it. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue here, maybe. Let's do that. Just for my copy, because it's so thin, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue there. Now squeeze it down with this so that it's nice and flat. Next, we're gonna do the other one. Sand. So I know a lot of people will say, wait a minute, but then when I print stuff, it's not gonna all fit together nicely without glue, and it needs more work. And I say, well, yes and no. The design obviously is, fairly precise to certain measurements. It's a matter of weather conditions, for example, can affect your prints, rather than, I don't know, the quality of the plastic that you use, the speed that you're printing at, the layer size, especially again my friend Campo is passionate about layer sizes, especially when it comes to this kind of scale, to make sure that the details come out nicer, despite the fact that we're printing on FDM type of printers. But even if we are not able to achieve, resin level of detail, we can still get pretty close even with a normal 0.2 nozzle by printing a 0.12 layer height, and then by having the parts orientated in the right way. Right? Okay. Here is some glue. Squeeze it down nicely. Remove some excess glue. Here we go. Now we do the same with the other window. That's not top speed. There we go. I wasn't getting what I wanted, but right. Let me put this on for a second. Let's give it a clean on this as well. Just a little bit on the inside. On the top. This is gonna be really difficult to maybe easier to pass the piece on to the file rather than the other way around, but we made it. I think there is a bit of an edge there. No, it's fine. It's fine. So again, this has also a very distinct shape that will fit only one side of the cab. So let's test it first. If it works fine, it should slide right in, and it's not quite sliding in, so we will need to re-see our situation. I think there's a bit of the debris in there that could be preventing things from sliding in. As I said, it's not always neither the printer nor the designer fault. It can just be the weather, especially in winter. Things get worse, or I don't know, you might have somebody hanging clothes in the same room, and all of that humidity goes somewhere. Needs to go somewhere. No, still not going quite in. Let me get this guy, because this guy, yeah, is a bit more ruthless about removing stuff compared to the standard. So when it comes to that situation, can always shave off a little bit to make sure the things are flat. I don't feel any resistance. So one more try. Hopefully it's the good one. Gosh, small bits are really difficult for me with my fat fingers, and still not quite going in. It's moving in too. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. So that feels quite solid in there. I'm not gonna put any glue. And now this one, it's gonna need more TLC on this side. TLC meaning tenderloin cure. Yeah. Let me do some sanding down of this one. The back is not as important if it doesn't even reach the back. There, and now in this direction. Ow. Be careful not to hurt yourself with, you know, all of these jagging, stubby things. It's not the first time that I scratched myself like on that finger. This is a dangerous hobby. Dangerous. It doesn't quite want to go in, but I'm gonna call it today because I want to move on to the next bit. You can make it better than me. So this is clear, this is clear, that one is clear, so we can finally mount the head. And oh wait, we need the wheels. Oop. We need some wheels for the helmet or the cab, whatever you want to call this. So like we did before, clear this out. Let's just go ahead and glue this on. I have a feeling that I'm already running out of this one. Or it's just not coming down. Because it's gel, so you kind of need to shake it down to get it to come out sometimes. And that's one wheel. Second one. Could have sanded that bit down a little bit instead of just pushing hard, but here we are. All done. Make sure that the wheels are straight and not wonky like that one. That looks good now. And head on. And as usual, we align all the holes between the temples on the head and the helmet. And we can see this coming through a little bit, but it shouldn't be that much. Here we go. Now this is all the way through. Snip, snip, as usual. All done. We now have upper torso finished. And glued and everything. Yay! We should cross-check that this can, you know, still transform and become track mode. Looks good to me. And this can come down and this can turn still. So it becomes a little track. It's like a secret alt mode for the track. I kind of like to call the milk van when I build this. It's a cute little truck. So that's for the upper torso. Before we put the hands on, I would like to move on to the legs so that we can test that those are also gonna work fine. Let me transform it again. Face down, like that. This bit down and face forward. All good. Right, we can put this apart and all the glue will, you know, solidify better. So the arms can wait. So, before we tackle this will probably be the last bit that we do. Because this glues onto the chest. But we already have these parts that are just mushroom peg from these two parts, and this new hip is just push it in and then it locks in and you'll never lose it again. So it's a new design that I made where there is a little piece that is supposed to give way and then pop up, and that locks this piece into place. Seems to be even sturdier than I expected, to be honest. It's not letting it go. So I'm really happy with that. This is a mushroom peg on this part, while the knees will need some filament, so we can work on that maybe. On the knees before we keep going. So to take the knee apart, again, there's a mushroom peg in the knee. There's two parts that I printed in two different colors. And then there is the tie. These knees are, let's say, symmetrical, so there is no point saying left and right, but you know, in the files that would be called left and right. Clear out some holes. Make sure the filament will pop through. That looks clear, but let's give it a go. All good. So with that done, I'm gonna take some purple filament and I'm gonna put this back together, waiting for the rest of the leg. And I'm gonna put this through the knee and then snip snip. All good. Again, you could bend the filament a little bit more just to give it some extra friction, especially if your printer makes the pieces very, very tight in the way of it doesn't have much friction. Let's say very precise. Like this purple came out so like there is no friction here at all. I will need to add some what you call it, nail polish. So that's the ties done. There's the new parts that we need to put together. That will be exciting. So these are the new parts that are designed for Evil Chad to make the track mode look a bit more cohesive. That ended up making it Chad look like a samurai. So for the left hand side, we have a black hinge that's gonna connect to the hip. We have this panel that we connect to that. We have a small black hinge that is gonna connect these two panels. So a lot of holes to check and make sure that they are suitable. That is good. Perfect. Let's check this one out. That looks like it needs a hand. Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's very clogged. And that's the 4 minute, so I'm gonna wait a minute to insist on that before that gets ruined completely. So let's do this one. Yeah, no. Now that little bit of plastic that we want to remove before it becomes a critical issue. And we go. And it's done it again. So all of this that sticks to the drill you want to remove before it becomes like melting and ruins your piece. If you have a hand drill, you might not have this problem, but like I said, I'm not patient. I want technology to resolve my problems. Shall I try more on this? I'm gonna stop it and just use it as a hand drill because something here is not quite working. Alright, I managed to get through. And we do ones with the engine on. So there's still a little bit of something that is catching. Let me see. It's just a bit of powder here. There's a tiny bit here that didn't snip away from the supports, but that's not important really. It's just annoying me right now. There you go, that's better. So with that, then it should be easy to just put filament through all the way, yeah. So now we can start with the hinge in between the parts. That's not all the way through. Come on, collaborate. There we go. So that's aligned with that now. And this part, so we have details on both sides. And when you close it, you want this to match with this notches here. So you have these details outside for robot mode, and when it turns into track mode, you have these pseudo windows or whatever on the outside for track mode. So let me get my filament back. As you can see, they're quite large or long holes, so you will need quite a bit of filament. Although you don't really need the filament to go all the way through if you don't want to. I feel that there is quite a bit of, maybe could have been removed, but or maybe it'll go in better if we put it with this angle. Let's see. It's not catching. It looks alright, so why is it not going through? Let me try from the other side. That worked. Yep. So here we go. We got the outside skirt for the left done, and this small piece here, we can use black if we want. No, we use green. It's short distance for this one. Didn't really check the hole for that bit, so that was my fault. That needed a bit of convincing to go through. And finally, let's snip away excess, and we can fit this through. Fit the filament through everything. Come on. Don't run away. Don't run away. Yeah. Let me do this. Yeah. It's a bit of debris. Test it. Goes through fine. Test it here. Goes through fine. So now it needs to go through fine. If it's aligned correctly, there we go. All good. So now we need purple for this. Make sure that that is drilled through. There we go. Looks okay. Let's do a test. Fitting through, because it looks a bit rough. Looks a bit rough. There we go. That's fine. Therefore, check this. Yep. So align everything, and then push it through. Come on, stay there. Don't run away. All right, come on. Maybe I need to clear a bit that part as well. Oh. I've tried before, but it looks like it's a bit rough. Right. Here we go. This bit. There. Push, push, push. Come on. Come on. Is it true? Yeah. Good. There we go. So we got one side done, and it moves. That's what it needs to do. And when it's in track mode, this will fold up and fill in that ugly bit that before we had where you could see chat ties in vehicle mode. So one side down. I'm not gonna show both sides. I'm gonna show you only one side. But let's move on to the leg. So we got the leg piece. We got this. Yeah, I think this is the right one. So this is the left leg because the wheels are gonna be inside the cab. So that's why I recognize it. And we got the whole piece for the leg with the holes that need to be cleaned for the foot. And then we got holes for the knee and the, let's call it the joint for the combination. Clear that one out. Another one out. This one in the middle is always a pain. Okay. Okay. So let's check this guy. Right. That should be done. Gonna snip away some excess. And here looks good. So again, we are gonna need ring, test fitting, filament through, looks alright. The middle looks alright. And this piece has some resistance, so that's where we need to work. I hate this when it does that. This is the white. This is the white plastic. There is a pain across the board to print, to work with. Gets wet so easily. Let's see now. Yeah. So I haven't glued the wheels on this yet, but you can imagine what's gonna happen if you need to. And this piece here should fit in there like that. Snip, snip. Then we join with this part. You can flap up the skirt for a second, or you can disconnect the mushroom peg if you prefer. Voila, leg done, ready for combination. In track mode, so we said this will shift up, this will actually collapse and turn inside. So the wheels are at the bottom of the track, obviously. And yeah, that's it. That doesn't look right now because this is supposed to be I'm gonna have to recheck a moment what I'm doing here because this is supposed to be the top of the truck now, but there's the left leg, so I think I used the wrong one. Yay! I thought this was the front. I'm confused. Because this This is the inside. When it transforms, it turns like this. This leg shift up inside like this. This shifts up, which is fine. And this is supposed to flap in front. So give me a minute and I'll figure out if I'm doing this wrong. So yeah, there must have been a cock-up when I done the design, final renders, but it's not that I'm wrong, but I'm wrong in the way that I've been following what was on screen, but then I realized that this needs to be on the other side. So, you know, no biggie. We're just gonna put that aside. I'm gonna take these on this side and do exactly the same thing that we've done, but for this side. So then we're gonna have this panel attached here. So what you want facing forward is not what I thought was gonna be a nice design with all of this nice stuff, but now it's gonna be the black hinge, which is unfortunate, but there's not much I can do at this point in the way of that's gonna be the design. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that off camera because you've seen me doing it already. I'm gonna prepare both legs in the same way and then I'm gonna show you. So here is the lower body almost complete. The center part has not been glued yet, but I just wanted to show you the front skirt that is needing attached and glued at the belt. So we're gonna use the drill again, make sure everything is fine. Ooh, that one needed a bit more convention. It's getting hot. So here is the holes all done. I think I need to use a little bit of this as well. Finish it. I hate it when it gets stuck. But it's good for you to see that these things are happening and that you shouldn't despair. The things are gonna work out. If you have any problem, you just reprint it, you know? That's the beautiful thing about this hobby that we do, is that there's plenty of spare parts. So it's just that I don't have the spare parts for this video, necessarily. I'm gonna have to use some black for the filament here because this is not enough. Well, I have another green, but I didn't want to use that. So that's gone through long enough. And let's see if I can finish with this. So make sure that you have the nicer decorated parts at the front this time. And let's see if that is enough to fit through. Yeah, let's make it work that way. Okay, so this is the front flap, and for transformation this will fold on itself so that it tucks away in track mode, but in robot mode it's just there to be of decoration, really. once this started looking like a samurai, I just added this bit. Because why not? Because why not? I really wanted to do some sort of armoring up series for my blokes set, let's say. Because the last time was what I call core masters. There was really some sort of power master situation, and I kind of loved it, but one of the toys that I like the most is this guy here, Ultra Magnus. And the original one obviously had the white Optimus Prime version inside, while you know, the trailer was the armor. And I would like to create some sort of armoring up gimmick, but the fear I have is that nobody's gonna care. So if you like the idea, let me know in the comments on YouTube, or send me messages on Cults, or join my Facebook page, Crop Studio, or find me on the Transformers 3D printing page. We have a Transformers 3D printing Discord as well. If you want to join, let me know. I have a designer account on the Creality Cloud that is also let's say a point of communication, so you can find me there, or there is a Transformers 3D printing group there as well in the community, so you can try and find me there as well. So here I'm preparing the parts for the arm in the meanwhile, and as you can see, they're both fairly simple in the way that it's gonna be a lot of filament going through the fingers, going through the elbows, going through here, and once that's done, all we will need to do is to glue this bit here with the rest of the arm, and we're almost done. So I'm gonna take a break, and in fact I need to do the feet first, so I'm gonna take a break, and then we're gonna finish with feet, arms, and combining everything together, hopefully. So we're finally here at the point where we're almost done with the upper body. We just need to do the arms. For the arms, I'm gonna need some gray filament that I don't have here at the moment. Let me go and find it. I think I had some, yeah. Might not be enough, but we'll see. Or I could cheat and just use some white. So, and I need some black for the hands. So let's start with the hands. Oh, we need to do feet first. That's gonna need more black. Can probably use this one. Oh, this is the, no, that's the B color ones. Let's use this one. Okay. So for the feet, we have the hinge inside the foot. Clear. Let's clear the foot. This one has quite a deep connection here to help it be, you know, stable. So now that we got that, we need to ensure. Did I push it through? There was just some random rubbish. So this is gonna go in, and it kind of snaps into place already. It wants to, but obviously we want that hinge to work for the anchor tilt. So I'm gonna push it from the back and let's see if it goes through. Yep, no problem. And hopefully we'll just go through. Yeah. So we don't really need it to come all the way through, but once it's done, then the anchor tilt will actually work. Let's do quickly the other one. Da, da, da. Yeah, I definitely didn't do that for the previous foot. That's done. Here we go. Power down. Let's see if we can use this one again. We can start from the back again, hoping for things to be aligned. Doesn't feel like it for some reason, so we can tilt the foot up, and hopefully that will allow us to find what we're looking for. Why is it not working? Is it not getting in? It is getting in. So why did the other one work? That's for free, and this one has been a pain. Here we go. That's gone through. Here we go, all done. Foot number 2 finished. Again, you can test it, make sure that it does give you that tilt. And of course, this is for the left and that's for the right. So that when you do the final assembly, it's gonna be there. Let's move on to the hands. In fact, I'm gonna all the holes that we need for the right arm, and then I'm gonna do the left arm off camera. Some of the elbow joints are they're not thin, but you need to be careful still. And depending on how you print it, well, if you printed the order, this doesn't have holes anymore. If you print it in the same orientation that I suggest, then you should be fine. But otherwise, be careful, because there is always going to be something that you print in an orientation that makes it more or less resistant to, when you assemble it, depending on what direction. So usually I pay attention, for example, the orientation of the fingers is standing, because that gives you more strength in this direction than in this direction, because the fingers need to be held into the hand by some filament. And if you don't print them in that direction, there is a more tendency to snap and leave you with a fingerless figure. So that's kind of aligned. Let's try and find the end that might need to clear us some space, because it doesn't look like it's got, that's a bit deformed. So let's take our trusty file. is not staying in line. Nobody's gonna see inside there, so we don't care. Let's see if that now fits better. Looks like it. So which one is the end? I can use. There we go. As usual, dry fitting and test fitting and make sure that everything is going through, and then we can snip. Now we have hands that can open and close with some fingertips. And then the other test will be with the gun, for example. And the big test is with a sword. Or you can take, the sword off for a moment and just test it with a hilt. I think the hilt needs a bit of clean, but it got cut off directly by the hand itself, so all good. That's a sword hand. Let's get rid of that for a moment. The hand itself will just fit through with a mushroom peg into this section here. It slides right through, and for the most cases should be secure enough not to fall off when you spin it around or anything like that. But if you have any problems, then I don't know, just let me know and I can hook you up with that version of the files that might have a little bit more indentation to avoid things falling off. For the elbow, we have this piece here. There's a mushroom peg and filament goes through here like that. And then for the upper arm, it goes through a mushroom peg again. So we just push it through all the way and make sure that things align. And now we got the arm practically done. So we just need to glue that bit. But what we have here is this new armature that allows the micromaster to be attached so that when the arm turns, the pieces of the micromasters shouldn't get in the way. It's also designed so that the elbow can bend and, has a good range of motion together with the elbow and the shoulder joint, I should say, and wrist rotation. I think that I had to give up on the other elbow joint because you didn't really need was it 360? No, is it 180? 180 degrees of elbow bending here, while instead this allows for this rotation without getting in the way. I think I tried to do something in the Chadperian version of this mold, but it didn't quite come out nice. The only downside of this is that if I keep this design with the small arms, then it kind of doesn't look aligned. It doesn't bother me once the micros are on, but it might bother somebody. I'm sorry for that. Or you can modify the files in Blender to match in this direction, but I don't know. For this version, I thought it was alright to be like that. So that's one arm done. I'm gonna do the other one, and then we are gonna look at gluing the arms together. Here we are with the arms done, ready to be glued. So we are pretty much the home stretch. So just to recap, we got 2 legs all assembled. We got the crotch area waiting to be glued. We got arms waiting to be glued, and we got feet that are gonna peg in, and then we got all the micros that are gonna combine together with this guy. Let me clean up this bit a little bit because it looks so messy and we don't need filament anymore. and it might distract somebody with OCD from the final completion. In fact, I don't really need that background either, but let's use it as me knowing where the camera is actually gonna see. So, where do we start? I think we should start with the legs attaching to the main body, because that is kind of messy sometimes. So what I like to do is I like to put this against the front part, usually pegs together, as in pegs on, and it holds on a little bit, a bit more or less than at the back. So we can lie down. Now there are not many areas where you can put glue for this guy. So really we want to aim at these areas around where the chest mushroom peg goes, so we can fit this through like that. And this bit here is gonna push through, so we cannot really put glue on the top here, otherwise you're gonna glue the mushroom peg from the chest. But you know, this glue on the waist should be enough, and then you want to avoid any glue on the top. So glue only, let me use this, glue only these two flat areas here, and that should suffice for everything. So before we glue, I'm gonna sand it down with a trimmer, because why not? Remember, it's easier for the glue to get a hold of somewhere that has been sanded, because you know, nice and shiny flat surfaces are nice to see but not good to attach together. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna get my trusty glue, shake it because it's been a few hours already. I'm gonna put a generous drop on each side, but not generous enough that it's gonna go everywhere. Just that it's gonna spread a little bit in other places. Hold the body up, down, sorry. And now we push it through and make sure that things are aligned. It doesn't feel like it. I might have jumped the gun a little bit, thinking this was gonna peg through without trouble. The alternative is to do this without the actual legs attached, because there's mushroom pegs. But that's it. That's the crotch connected. I'm gonna push it through for a few seconds. Maybe you can push it through while holding it upright, so that the glue gravity, let's say, naturally falls down instead of up. It still doesn't feel right. Yeah. So yeah, legs can go off for a bit, and that makes things a bit easier to handle. You really want this to kind of be flush forward a bit, so that the glue can hold it. But feels like there is something in the way. You know what? Maybe this bit that was not printed well needs trim. That's my feeling. So now go back to this, go back to this, gentlemen, and yeah, now this is going through better. Things are still moving. You want to cross check again, dry fitting. That I've done this already. You want to check your dry fitting, that things are gonna transform and, you know, fit through the gaps there's not a lot of gaps, but as you can see, these ties are gonna feed through and connect together for transformation like that. And then that's gonna flop up, and that's gonna go up, and these are gonna flop upwards, and that's gonna turn into track. This is gonna move down. So while this is drying, what can we do? Well, you can take the legs and test that the fit are gonna fit through without problems. So this part here comes out no problem. This is the right hand side, so you want the foot that tilts this way. Because again, I tested mine, but this is gonna fit through like that and stand. You don't want too much resistance, but you want enough that the foot is not gonna fall off when you pose it. If you find that your feet are too loose, then again, a little bit of nail polish or even glue and let it dry so that it builds up more, let's say, friction. And the other side is the same. Test that this is working. Push this through. So yeah, this one is not going all the way through. So we can find out there is some debris in there. We can clear out. Either with that or a quick knife. There you go. The other leg is done. Waiting for the upper body. So for the arm, you want to cross-check and make sure that you get the side of the panel that will align the holes, because I feel like, okay, it's got a little curve as well. Can you see? It's got a little curve. So you want the curve to be, let's say, towards the outside of the arm. So that is the right piece for that side. And we are gonna grab Evil Chad, lift it up, make sure that it fits. As you can see, it does. So we can get some glue, and this time we're gonna put it at the base here of this piece, or you can glue it, you know, at the bottom, and voila, that's the arm done. Easy peasy. The arms are really easy, I think, to glue together. I've done a good job of leaving a groove that helps the connection, and I've done a similar job for the legs for Chad Superior, and that will go in the version that comes with Computron, Chad Putron. Jeez, why did I start this trend of calling them Chads and names? Oops. But, you know, it's kind of fun to make them feel more like my design. So that's the other arm glued. Try not to glue my fingers on. Trying to. So that's done. That's done. That's one leg. And that's the other leg. And we're done. This is Evil Chad assembled. Let me take panoramic view. Here we are with the arms done, ready to be glued. So we are pretty much the home stretch. So just to recap, we got 2 legs all assembled. We got the crotch area waiting to be glued. We got arms waiting to be glued, and we got feet that are gonna peg in, and then we got all the micros that are gonna combine together with this guy. Let me clean up this bit a little bit because it looks so messy and we don't need filament anymore. And it might distract somebody with OCD from the final completion. In fact, I don't really need that background either, but let's use it as me knowing where the camera is actually gonna see. So, where do we start? I think we should start with legs attaching to the main body, because that is kind of messy sometimes. So what I like to do is I like to put this against the front part, usually pegs together, as in pegs on and it holds on a little bit, a bit more or less than at the back, so we can lie down. Now there are not many areas where you can put glue for this guy, so really we want to aim at these areas around where the chest mushroom peg goes, so we can fit this through like that, and this bit here is gonna push through, so we cannot really put glue on the top here, otherwise you're gonna glue the mushroom peg from the chest. But you know, this glue on the waist should be enough, and then you want to avoid any glue on the top, so glue only, let me use this, glue only these two flat areas here, and that should suffice for everything. So before we glue, I'm gonna sand it down with a trimmer, because why not? Remember, it's easier for the glue to get a hold of somewhere that has been sanded, because you know, nice and shiny flat surfaces are nice to see but not good to attach together. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna get my trusty glue, shake it because it's been a few hours already. I'm gonna put a generous drop on each side, but not generous enough that it's gonna go everywhere. Just that it's gonna spread a little bit in other places. Hold the body up, down, sorry. And now we push it through and make sure that things are aligned. It doesn't feel like it. I might have jumped the gun a little bit, thinking this was gonna pack through without trouble. The alternative is to do this without the actual legs attached, because there's mushroom pegs. But that's it. That's the crotch connected. I'm gonna push it through for a few seconds. Maybe you can push it through while holding it upright, so that the glue gravity, let's say, naturally falls down instead of up. It still doesn't feel right. Yeah. So yeah, legs can go off for a bit, and that makes things a bit easier to handle. You really want this to kind of be flush forward a bit, so that the glue can hold it. But feels like there is something in the way. You know what? Maybe this bit, it was not printed well, needs trim. That's my feeling. So now go back to this, go back to this, gentlemen, yeah, now this is going through better Things are still moving. You want to cross check again, dry fitting. That I've done this already. You want to check your dry fitting that things are gonna transform and, you know, fit through the gaps. There's not a lot of gaps, but as you can see, these ties are gonna fit through and connect together for transformation like that. And then that's gonna flop up and that's gonna go up, and these are gonna flop upwards, and that's gonna turn into track. This is gonna move down. So while this is drying, what can we do? Well, you can take the legs and test that the fit are gonna fit through without problems. So this part here comes out no problem. This is the right hand side, so you want the foot that tilts this way. Because again, I tested mine, but this is gonna fit through like that and stand. You don't want too much resistance, but you want enough that the foot is not gonna fall off when you pose it. If you find that your feet are too loose, then again, a little bit of nail polish or even glue and let it dry so that it builds up more, let's say, friction. And the other side is the same. Test that this is working. Push this through. So yeah, this one is not going all the way through. So we can find out there is some debris in there. We can clear out. Either with that or a quick knife. There you go. The other leg is done. Waiting for the upper body. So for the arm, you want to cross check and make sure that you get the side of the panel that will align the holes, because I feel like, okay, it's got a little curve as well. Can you see? It's got a little curve. So you want the curve to be, let's say, towards the outside of the arm. So that is the right piece for that side. And we are gonna grab Evil Chad, lift it up, make sure that it fits. As you can see, it does. So we can get some glue, and this time we're gonna put it at the base here of this piece, or you can glue it, you know, at the bottom, and voila, that's the arm done. Easy peasy. The arms are really easy, I think, to glue together. I've done a good job of leaving a groove that helps the connection. And I've done a similar job for the legs for Superior, Chad Superior. And that will go in the version that comes with Computron, Chad Putron. Jeez, why did I start this trend of calling them Chads and names? Oops. But, you know, it's kind of fun to make them feel more like my design. So that's the other arm glued. Try not to glue my fingers on. Trying to. So that's done. That's done. That's one leg. And that's the other leg. And we're done. This is Evil Chad assembled. Let me take panoramic view.